r/ask Reddit. What small thing pisses you off more than usual? Any sticker that you can't peel off in one piece. Absolutely infuriating. Mine is specific to books. Stop putting your gross ass stickers on my $30 book. Getting home after being out all day, taking off my pants, shoes, etc. and then having to go back out for something stupid. Once my wife takes her bra off for the day, it engages a 12-hour emotional lockdown where she wouldn't step outside for a herd of the world's cutest puppies giving away gold bars. I agree. Once the bra comes off, I will not leave the house. That signifies that the day is over. The ceremonial removal of the bra is sacred. It's always cat food. Always. Shit, that happened to me a few times a few years back when I didn't have a car. Had to walk bike everywhere. Get home from a 2-hour trek. Pouring rain. Forgot cat food. People who stand in front of exit entrances having a conversation. Right there. Blocking the way. Blocking the aisle in a grocery store is equally infuriating. Especially when they're standing in front of something you need. When I was 14, this miserable old couple was standing in the middle of an aisle with their cart right beside them, taking up almost the entire width of the aisle. I needed to get by, so I said, "Excuse me, I just got to sneak by." They just scoffed at me and went back to their bitching about the prices. I went to sneak my cart by them and I bumped their cart a little bit accidentally. They got mad and the woman went off about how this damn younger generation is so disrespectful. Your mother should be ashamed in how she raised you. I told them to cry me a river and the woman lost her ducking mind. She told her husband, "Someone needs whip that little bastard's ass." Can you believe the nerve? The husband just snapped enough at her and she gasped like he just slapped her. I may have caused a divorce, ha 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 ha. Sounds like he was already thinking about it, but you may have tipped him over though. Some people are just so self-absorbed and only happy when they have something to bitch about. People not letting people off the subway or out of elevators. Getting off the subway, I just keep walking through them while yelling, "I have to get out before you get in." That's how this works, and it usually helps. I just stare at them and keep walking out. Works most of the time. The only time that happens is on school day mornings and it's like 6th graders pushing in. People walking 10% slower than you in front of you while you have no opportunity to pass them. Or the group of 4-5 people who walk in a damn formation so that no one shall pass. Duck them too. I get so frustrated by this, I typically bellow out, "Make a hole." When this technique is employed properly, the sea of people part as if I were Moses. Also, people standing on the left side of the escalator. In Japan, they stand on the left and walk on the right. When I returned to the US, I forgot to make the switch and a guy behind me got rightfully pissed off about it. I was the a-hole. Drivers that break right of way to be nice. It's your turn to go. Duck and go. I got into a pretty serious accident because of this. We were coming across the top of a T intersection, but it was on a hill so visibility wasn't good. There was actually a permanent flashing yellow traffic light in both directions across the top, and a flashing red coming from the bottom of the T, so this was a known shitty intersection. Anyway, just as we're approaching the intersection, the guy coming from the opposite direction stops at the light to let the woman coming out of the T go. He couldn't have seen us coming, but he also had no reason to stop. He had a yellow light, she had a red, but when she sees him stop, she blows past the red without even looking in the other direction and slams into the side of our car. Totaled both cars, sent everyone to the hospital, and ended a dancing career. Fortunately, everyone was eventually alright, although the following few weeks sucked pretty bad all around. The dancing career wasn't mine, BTW. I couldn't dance to save my life even before the accident. I've read somewhere that this "you go first" gestures in traffic is sometimes called the wave of death, because it makes stuff like this happen. It's quite common. I once saw a Reddit thread asking for good general advice and someone wrote, "When you drive, don't be nice, be predictable." I find myself thinking of it often when driving, so thanks to that stranger. This is what causes most of my road rage. There are traffic laws for a reason. Abide by them just like everyone else for everyone's safety. Being nice doesn't help anyone. It just causes panic reaction by everyone around you. And use your ducking turn signal. Ugh. People continuing to explain something to me after I've said I know at least thrice. My old roommate was a really heavy drinker, and he'd always go into the same collection of stories when he was trashed. You've told me this did nothing. He'd still tell the entire story. After 2 years, there were stories I literally heard 8-12 times. It was a relief to move. I hear you. My alcoholic dad tells the same stories pretty much every time we get together. It's equal parts irritating and depressing. I love my dad so much, though. Or people explaining something to you without checking to see if you already know said thing. I just hate when someone I know gets into something I'm low-key enthusiastic about and starts lecturing me about it. People who always try to one-up your situation. Tell them you've got a cold and they'll respond I've had pneumonia for 10 years, or some shit. I really hate it when people 2-up my situations. 2-upping? That's nothing. I gotta deal with getting 3-upped constantly. You ever been 4-upped? I get it all the time. It's all fine till you get 7-upped. It takes forever to get all the stickiness off. My sister dated a guy like this for a few years. It was so ducking annoying. Anytime I described something happening to me, he'd always come up with something 1-up my story. I started calling him 1-up Pete. Not covering your damn mouth when you cough or sneeze. Or when adults cough or sneeze directly into their hands. Then don't wash or sanitize. They should know better. Grocery store shoppers that leave their cart in the middle of the aisle so no one can pass by as they bend over to read labels. They seem oblivious to others trying to get by and don't take the hint when a shopper makes a sound to get their attention. That's when you ram their cart. That's when you ram the person. That's when you buy a ram to take shopping with you. When I moved to a new city I was pleasantly surprised to see that when people leave their carts in the middle of an aisle other people will just move the cart. Either by hand or with their cart. None of the awkward waiting, and, if the person's nearby, the right amount of shaming. The type of people who can never just admit they screwed up, doesn't matter how small the mistake is. When confronted, they always have an excuse or a story. Just ducking say I'm sorry and move on. I don't need an essay on why you did what you did. It's not that big of a deal. I know someone that refuses to ever accept they were wrong, let alone apologize for it. They are infallible and it's so frustrating. Safe to say we don't talk much anymore. I've had bosses like this. They accept zero responsibility. It's not even them explaining why they did. It's always how and why it's someone else's fault. I've noticed this among some of my bosses. Too. It's like they think if they admit fault, people won't respect their authority or something. Personally, I respect people who can admit their faults even more. Birds that fly in front of cars. You have the whole sky. Damn it. When I see some just leave their shopping cart in the lot when they arrive next to the cart return. Was out with my girlfriend a while back and I watched a stray cart get hit by wind and barrel straight into someone's passenger door. Wouldn't have happened if someone put their cart away properly. I saw an abandoned cart attempt a sick jump all by itself once. I was eating lunch in my car one day in the parking lot when I noticed a cart out in the middle of the empty side of the parking lot chilling by itself. There was a big autumn windstorm starting to roll in that day. Suddenly a gust of wind hit the cart and it came to life. The thing started rolling faster and faster. It was probably going at least pretty fast miles per hour. Oh man, I hope that doesn't hit someone's car. That's when I noticed it was rolling towards the garden center parking lot. There were random pallets of largish outdoor items and stacks of things like cinder blocks and paving stones over there. There was a big sale sign. I'd say about 3 feet by 4 or 5 feet that was fallen over and leaning at a shallow angle on a pallet. I have to admit I was rooting for this ducking cart now. Crom. I have never prayed to you before. I have no tongue for it. No one. Not even you. Will remember this cart. How it rolled or why. All that matters is that today, one cart rolled free while others were corralled. That's what's important. Vela pleases you. Crom. So grant me one request. Please guide the wind so that this cart might make a bomb ass jump using that sign as a ramp. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you. The cart seemed to steer as if guided by divine intervention towards the sign ramp. It went up the ramp and promptly fell off the other side and toppled onto its side. My eyes widened and I spoke under my breath. Crom. People who act like they're more important than everyone else when getting off a flight. People who lose all common courtesy while traveling. Holy duck. This reminds me of this one time I came home from a business trip. This lady just cut me off and starts explaining how she should be able to cut me off to get off the damn plane first. It's like, beach, I don't care. Just stop talking. You don't need to explain to me why you need to cut me off. Especially if you're going to take 10 minutes to explain to me why you need to get off the plane first. Like if you had just said, explosive diarrhea, out of my way. That would have been more effective whether it was true or not. And people would get it. Duck. Any slight amount of input delay on games like Mario Kart or Mortal Kombat. I played Smash Bros online once. It's horrible. It felt like it was over a second of input lag. It wasn't even consistent either, so it was hard as hell to adapt to it. Reminds me online flight sim matches in the 90s where I was using a 2400 baud modem against someone with a 14.4K. Man, that was frustrating. The fitted sheet coming off the mattress in the middle of the night. It's like an alarm clock that is going off right next to my ear. Impossible to ignore. I can't fall back to sleep unless I put the sheet back on. Banana threads. You know those tiny cords between the banana and its skin? I find them revolting despite liking the fruit itself. It's like eating hair. Just the tuft of it makes me want to vomit. I have yet to meet someone who shares my utter disgust for that wiry filth. LOL, my fruit needs to be pristine. I will pick all of the white stuff off a mandarin orange. Hello there, fellow banana thread haters. D. Ants in the kitchen. Ants anywhere in the house. People who talk down about themselves hoping you'll disagree and compliment them. I can't stand being told you chose whether your day is good or bad. When talking to someone about having a bad day, I know focusing on the positive is good. But sometimes I am just having a shitty day. Ah, yes, toxic positivity. I don't trust anybody that's perpetually happy. You're hiding something, mother ducker. I just know it. Washing a spoon and making myself wet with a flood wave. People who chew loudly or with their mouth open. It's just one of those things that shouldn't piss me off but drives me insane. I used to work at a car dealership and the entire detail department would take their lunch at 1 PM. Walking in that room and listening to those 10 guys each sounded like 30 old people having a sloppy orgy. People who tailgate me when I'm going over the speed limit on a 2-lane road. Get off my ass or go around. Even worse are the people who tailgate you when there's 2 or 3 cars in front of you who are going slow. What do they want me to do? Ram the person in front of me? I can literally only go as fast as the cars in front until it's safe to pass on the left. I absolutely hate it when someone is out in public, takes a phone call, and puts their phone on speaker. And to that same end, if you're checking out at a store, please have the courtesy to at least get off of the phone and speak to the person ringing you up. At the very least, put the phone down and take care of your business. When I worked retail, I would always speak to a person who was checking out with me at a louder than normal volume if they were talking on the phone. When people can't outright say no to me and waste my time stalling instead. I rage internally when I can't get a ducking straight answer. Yes, no, I don't care which. Just ducking, tell me. Goddamn. 2 people who decide the best place to hold their conversation is in a doorway. Like, take a few steps in or a few out. Meanwhile, I guess I'm supposed to say excuse me but should be excuse you. People who must always have the last word and cannot apologize without adding a but. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you gotta see it from my perspective. Little children running into my room and then leaving, repeat 100 times. People not closing the door while leaving my room. People that misuse then and then. Reddit can't spell breaks. Loud talkers. Please shut the duck up, please. I'm do a lot of photography in my free time. Mostly portraits but sometimes sports. I work for free a lot. I care more about the validation and my day job pays me more than enough. But the one thing that gets me is when people don't give me credit. I love that people post my stuff on Instagram and Facebook, but a little tag in the top corner with my Insta handle would be nice. Giving people photo credit is a lot like tipping. It's not an obligation, but you kind of suck if you don't do it. When I hold the door open for someone and they don't acknowledge it at all. Yay, I don't work here. Unwashed dishes. People trying to FaceTime me. I hate calling and I hate FaceTime calling. When people say if I can do it anybody can duck you. People who keep meal leftovers in their plate when they put it in the sink. I think that may be the only thing I really can't stand, but my gosh I hate this. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.